Are you in entertainment or in education? If you're in entertainment, the monetization methods are ad revenue, Patreon, community support, crowdfunding essentially, brand sponsorships. Whereas if you're education, the opportunities I believe are more. It's also possible to make more money with a much smaller audience. Before you start adding more things to your plate, I think trying to find a leveraged activity that you can create passive income, money coming in when you're not working, that's kind of how you go to the next level as a content creator.
Welcome back to the Think Media Podcast. Sean, how you doing today?
Nolan, I am fired up to be hanging out with you.
Dude, we're going to talk about money, how to make money, what to do when you make money, and I'm excited. It's going to be good. And I kind of wanted to start off talking about your personal experience, going back to the early days. You know, kind of take me back to when you made your first 100K, kind of building up to that. Just what was that story? What did that look like? And then I'm excited to just hear today, like what you do different. But tell me the story of how that happened.
Yeah. I've heard it said that like making your first six figures is brutal. And that was my experience. I mean, the first year that we generated over $100,000 as independent contractors, basically. It's just my wife and I that were working on it. And I was the main content creator. She managed our personal finances. Was in 2016. However, I actually had generated a six-figure income the year previous or in 2014 because I had a almost $80,000 salary working at a church, and I generated an actual extra 50 on the side from mainly freelance work. And so I had maybe an extra $3,000 a month in freelance work. That's like $36,000 a year plus the 75 I was making. So I crossed the six-figure mark. Now we were living in Irvine, California, and cost of living was so crazy there. We were actually still losing money from our savings at the time, just because where you live. So it's funny when you throw these numbers around, six figures a year could be just absolutely crazy if you're living in a certain area. And in some areas, I heard someone in Washington State say, kind of flippantly, but I think it's somewhat true. They're like, if you don't make 150 a year, you're like on the streets.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know about the streets, but I mean, like, fair enough, because certain areas, whether it's taxes, cost of living, housing, and that was the case in Irvine, rent was really crazy. So when we moved back to Las Vegas in 2015, it was all freelance clients. And then once those kind of transitioned all in 1 month, it was all YouTube, affiliate marketing, and those were the two things. And it was actually, that was the original vehicle.
Just AdSense, or were you doing anything else with you? Like
affiliate marketing was the bigger thing. So October 2015, Think Media is 16,000 subscribers. Ad revenue is maybe $50 to $100 a month. And affiliates is $250 to $500 a month. The year previous, affiliates would always be as much as $1,000 during the holidays when it was a side hustle for me, because so much online shopping. And I was always, as we teach, positioning videos to rank so that people would click on affiliate links during the holidays, and all this online spending went up. So I always was making like good extra money, especially in Q4. And so when I was transitioning October 2015, I was coming into a really strategic time, November, Cyber Monday, Black Friday, as well as shopping in December. And so I had three main freelance clients. They all basically fired me in October 2015. So I went all in on just YouTube. And from ad revenue and affiliates, by January of 2016, I made $4,500 on Amazon, and ad revenue was maybe $500. So there's $60,000 a year right there. If it was just Amazon stayed consistent and ad revenue stayed consistent, but every single month it built after that.
So moving kind of forward, I mean, I know you built a course, you started to grow, but I'm curious in those beginning stages, especially when expenses are tight, you're not making a ton of money. Were you able to kind of reinvest into the business? Like, were you taking out loans to reinvest in the business? Like, can you explain to me what you were kind of using the money you were making for, and maybe what you do differently even?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that's always been cool, my wife Sonia and I have always been really unified, and I think we have always lived below our means and tried to be as frugal as possible. And so I think like the first time I bought a nice car in my life was pretty into our business. And by nice car, it was like a 2-year-old certified pre-owned Ford Explorer Sport. Like that was like a Ferrari for me. And it was still like being just a pretty practical. So in this time, we have paid off vehicles. So we have no car payments. You know, I think I'm driving a Ford Taurus that I got from my friend David Goldstein when he upgraded to a Tesla. He said, quote me a number on how much you'd pay for this. And I kind of blue booked it. It was probably worth 11. I was like, $7,000. He's like, all right. And I was like, wait a minute, you're just going to take whatever I offer? I mean 5. Like, what do you mean?
That was a typo.
Yeah. And he just like took literally the first number. I'm like, man, I should have lowballed even more. But we were, so we had like paid off cars. And then we're in cost of living in Vegas we moved back to Vegas partly because of cost of living. It's significantly cheaper than Irvine. So where we're living is a strategic decision in terms of cost as one aspect. You know, rent is cheap. No car payments, and we're not crazy. Like we just, I don't know, we live pretty chill lives. And so, and mind you, you can still live an amazing life, I think, if you're down with that, you know, Netflix. And so what was I investing in? I had been investing heavily in my business ever since probably 2008. And when I say investing in my business, probably the biggest investment would be myself. So I was, whether that meant buy a new camera or buy a lens or buy a piece of gear that would help me create content or buy an online course or buy education or buy plane tickets to fly to an event, we would use our money mainly for that kind of stuff. And oddly enough, it's kind of weird that maybe my counselor says I should get a different hobby than business, but like business is kind of my hobby, like personal development. So my favorite thing to buy is like books. Yeah. My favorite thing to buy is like courses because I just love learning. And I do see a positive ROI related to that or reinvesting in those things. And so, and both Sonia and I were willing to sacrifice for a season. So we understood the season we were in. It was a season of investing in ourselves. So I don't think I would have done much differently. What I would have done differently is from losing the freelance clients in 2015 to going, getting to the results of $4,500 a month, I was still dividing my attention across multiple channels. And it was kind of
how many channels did you have at the time?
Kind of a mistake. I mean, so I'm doing video influencers with Benji, which was positive because we're building up towards YouTube Secrets. We're interviewing lots of people. You could see the value in it for a lot of reasons. It was content for the book. It was our education by learning what we got to interview these individuals. It was personal branding and awareness. It wasn't really profitable because those types of videos were not as directly correlated in that moment. There was no book to sell and there was no course. And ad revenue wasn't great on a new channel. That channel was like just starting. Where my most profitable videos were me identifying a topic I could talk about that was rankable, that was connected to affiliate marketing. And I had so mastered that already that if I just stopped doing everything else and only did that, I probably would have made 6,000, 7,000, or 8,000 by January and not 4,500 because I was hustling and spinning my wheels on. We did this tour, the Video Influencers LA tour. And I think Benji couldn't go, and Sonia went, and John Mediana went, and FameBit paid us $5,000 to do like 5 videos. And mind you, that $5,000 was like gas, hotel, like food. It was all operations. Yeah. That's not a ton of money. And we were like, we locked in Lewis Howes to be on the Video Influencers show by buying some of his School of Greatness books. I was like, hey, if I buy 10 books or something or 25 books. And so we were investing in all that stuff. And all of that was great. I would recommend startup entrepreneurs just be doing massive actions, different things. But even that was not the most efficient use of our time. Driving to LA, hustling. I mean, we're learning a lot. We're building our network, building relationships. But if I would have sat at home, identified rankable topics, to the affiliate marketing thing. And that's why I tell people these days, figure out your shortest path to revenue. It's maybe a hard thing to figure out, but like, what is the shortest path to revenue? What are the income producing activities related that are best for your niche or your topic? Identify those and stop doing everything else. As a creative, it was sort of just, it's fun to follow opportunity. But I remember Andre Olivier from Rivers Church in South Africa was like, hey man, can you come out and film our, new building ceremony? And I was like, sounds cool. And like the level of energy it took compared, and it's a church, so they weren't able to pay us very much money. So it was like financially, it was like a losing thing. But I mean, I got to go to South Africa. I did film a couple time-lapse tech. There's some big media videos out of me filming a sunset. And all of that stuff, I think, made me who I am today. Yeah. But I for sure invested crazy levels of energy, and maybe 30% of it was directed towards income-producing activities, and 70% of it was just scattershot. And so if I would have done something different, it would have been being a little bit more business minded and less like creative muse minded.
So if you're looking back, but I want you to put yourself in today, 2023, and just the current state of YouTube. There's so many more ways even to monetize. What would you do differently in regards to your time? Because I think a lot of people right now, you either have, time or money. And some people, they're working on the money, but they have some time. And like what you're saying is, and I think, I definitely relate to this. I think a lot of people do. It's like you don't have money, and then you're wasting your time doing things that really aren't bringing the highest ROI for you. So today, what are people listening to this? They're like, if they only have a few hours a week, is it still affiliate marketing? Is it something else? Where is it just starting to build the personal brand? They don't have a big channel yet. Like, where should they be spending their time as top priority?
I think a couple approaches. I think number one, in one of our past podcasts with Omar, I think one of the best things they could do is actually spend a few extra hours working for a successful content creator or entrepreneur that's doing content, so that they fast track their education while learning from somebody who's got a dialed in process, and they can learn all the pieces of that process. That'd be one way to do it. The second thing to consider would be, it depends on the business model. So if it would be, find a YouTube business model that works, that best fits your skill set. So if it's, for example, you want to be in gaming and it's kind of a reaction, or maybe it's answering specific questions like 10 secrets for, getting started in Call of Duty or something. It's kind of a search based. And you just kind of can identify that like, this works, and I've gotten to a point where I can get 22,000 views or 75,000 views or even 122,000 views. I would say this, like, if you could figure out how to make consistently 100,000 viewed videos, easier said than done for listeners, but just follow me out with this. Like, that's not super crazy. It's not low, but it's also not that high. And let's say you can't even grow. Then it's a math thing. It's just, how consistently can I repeat that video? And that'll add up quick, because you do 10 of those in a month, it's 1 million views. That could be $2,000 to $5,000 or more, depending on the CPM. I was looking at one of our videos that has 178,000 views, and it's got almost $5,000 for 178,000 views.
How long was it too?
It's a very long video because of multiple ad spots.
And I think that's also, do you think, people should be utilizing 8+ minutes? So people don't know, if the video is 8 minutes long, you can do a mid-roll. Not every time is YouTube going to show that person the mid-roll, but more than not, they're going to get more ads. And so you can actually, that's like an easy hack you can do to make more money. Is that something like people should even be 100%. Focusing on? Okay, yeah.
So for a business model would be, maybe you work at a tech company and you're a coder. And so then you're like, I kind of want to build side income. And so I'm going to go home, and it takes me maybe a week in my extra hours, but I'm going to put together these like long form explanational videos about how to code JavaScript. And they take me some time, and I got to put some polish in them. But when I put out 30 to 45 minute to like 90-minute videos, eventually you'll have enough of them that boom, there you go. There's your $8,000 a month and you're making six figures from ad revenue if that's the model. And if you are an education channel, there's a lot of ways to make more money quicker and you should have multiple streams of income. But you can just find one thing. And so that's why I look back, if I could focus on the one thing, affiliate marketing isn't even best for every niche.
Yeah.
It is perfect for tech because the products are a little bit more expensive. There's an audience for it. If you're clicking on those links, you may not even buy the camera we recommend, but you're going to buy your USB cable. You may buy a standing desk. You're building out your battle station. We sell a lot of random stuff, and we always talk about this, how cool it is that when someone clicks on an Amazon affiliate link, you get credit for anything they purchase in 24 hours. So there's a lot of weird random stuff.
Have you ever seen just like a rant, like something random?
Oh yeah, I mean, you're seeing like women's undergarments.
Gosh.
You're seeing like weird, because you'll get credit for like Amazon rentals. You're like, dude, what are you watching? And I didn't know this weird, sketchy stuff was on Amazon. You'll see like baby products and food products. But then naturally, you also see a lot of things very related to the channel.
Yeah.
Tech stuff we've never recommended, but just tech in general. And so that model, so that I had cracked, I knew how to identify topics, rank videos, optimize videos, and I'd built up my skill sets. And so that model would work there, and it could work in other industries.
It worked for my personal channel last year in January. I didn't post any videos, and I made like $2,000, and that was through affiliate marketing. Maybe it was $400, $500 in Amazon, but where I made most of my money was like $1,500. I had one video that was ranking, and it was a LUT, which is basically like a color grade, like a color preset. And that video, and I love it. And so I made a video talking all about it. And I think it's like, I want to say it was like $35, maybe $50 for this like pack, this LUT pack. And people would buy it. And I had like a 30%, like a very high. Amazon gives you anywhere from like 1% to 4% or something low like that. So a huge hack is like, if you are in whatever niche you're in, like it doesn't have to just be Amazon. A lot of people are sharing just different products and even digital products where you can make way higher percentages. And like, dude, I was pulling like $1,000 for a couple months, not posting videos. One video ranked, and then I was able to just make some passive income that way, even without Amazon. What's cool though is you have a free training all about affiliate marketing, and so I know you go much deeper into that. So we're going to cover some other topics, but that's at freethinkclass.com. Can you share a little bit about what that training is and kind of what people can get there?
Yeah, I think that for 99% of niches, you should start with affiliate marketing, because you don't have to create a product of your own. You don't have to be approved for the Amazon partner program. You don't have to figure out the merch thing. You don't even need a big audience to do like Patreon or channel memberships. So it's a skill set that should be in your tool belt, even if it's not where your career advances. It's where most people's career should start if they want to earn extra income on the side. And if they even want to earn significant income, again, I was able to get to six figures doing just YouTube and affiliate marketing. So if you want to see that step by step, then that class is definitely a must watch.
Have you heard of ClickBank?
Yeah,
what are your thoughts on that for YouTubers?
So ClickBank has it's kind of more of an internet marketing type of website, but that's kind of old school affiliate marketing. And it'd be the idea that you could go find a product that somebody else has created. An example would be like in a marathon training course. So you have a running channel, or you're thinking about starting a channel. A way to do affiliate marketing is like maybe you even have advice, but you never package it in a course. And so you could find like $100, like a $97 marathon training course on ClickBank that probably pays 50% in terms of affiliate commission. So that's $50 every time that you make a sale of that product. And so ClickBank hosted a lot of information products, which you'd kind of consider online courses, but it could be bigger than that. What's interesting is one of my videos that earned over $20,000 in its lifetime was called Best Greens Juice Powder, about Organifi green juice. And that was actually hosted on ClickBank. They eventually changed to like Reversion and a different platform, but that was a ClickBank site. So that was actually a physical product that you mixed with water that kind of had that health benefits. And so, and that world though also it was known to get a little bit sketchy. There was things like JVZoo or ClickBank, which is sort of in that world of people pushing info products that are maybe a lot of hype and a lot of fluff, a lot of sizzle, no steak.
Gotcha. So, what's cool about YouTube today and is different than when you were, getting started and started making a lot of money is they have, which I love, they're just giving you more and more opportunities to monetize on the platform. Like YouTube memberships were not a thing. I think Patreon was at that time. I'm curious, why you didn't decide to do a membership early on. I know eventually you got into a membership thing, but today, talk about YouTube merch. There's shorts are now monetized. There is, I'd love to hear your thoughts on merch and memberships. Like, are those things that is worth the time for someone who maybe should they do it once they go full time? Should they set it up now and forget about it?
I can tell you where my thinking comes from. It doesn't mean the thinking's right, but this is how I think. I really am obsessed with leverage. Leverage is a term that many people probably don't use very often. If you're sitting at the kitchen table with your family, nobody probably said leverage during that conversation.
Can you leverage me the bread to my
right?
Wrong leverage.
And sometimes it kind of does mean like if you were to use something like my dad, I grew up on 6 acres, and if we needed to like move a stump, you would use leverage of some kind to like some metal rod that you get under there because you're trying to lift greater than your weight. But here's my understanding of what leverage means. Like you're trying to use your time for something that is going to give you more time in the future. What can I do today that's going to give me more time in the future? And how much time do I really have? And so the powerful thing about YouTube is it is kind of like passive income or investing in real estate. You invest in the real estate today, it goes up in value over time. You're leveraging your money. You're not trading your time for money.
This video is brought to you by StreamYard. StreamYard is our go-to platform for streaming to YouTube and Facebook with an incredibly easy to use interface for built-in branding, transitions, text lower thirds, and seamlessly bringing on guests. It really is one of the best options when it comes to live streaming. And what's so cool is they've implemented a brand new feature called local recording. Take control of your audio and video with local recordings by separating out your audio and video from your guests. This feature gives you the control over your content for later use, making it perfect for podcasts and video creators. Just go to streamwiththink.com to get started now.
My hesitancy for doing a membership was simply because I wanted to count the cost of as soon as I get people signing up for this, I'm just going to have to keep fulfilling on it. And I wanted to try to keep my time in my possession. And this is why I'm obsessed with ranking videos. This is why we have an academy literally called Video Ranking Academy, because of leverage. And so not only did I want to start with making videos that ranked in search, connected to passive income, that also I wasn't shipping the products out or accepting the returns. Like I was able to literally be hands off, even if I only make 4% on tech, happy because all I have to do is make the YouTube video right, connect it and optimize it properly, and Amazon will do the work for me. YouTube will do the work for me. And then I wanted to avoid adding more complexity to my YouTube business and just make more of those. Because I was like, if I could do all of this and make $4,000 a month, if I do this more, I can make $8,000 a month. And the truth is, eventually, I do need to do more. I did need to do more. I think eventually your business evolves. And we did evolve into other things. But before you start adding more things to your plate, I think trying to find a leveraged activity that you can create passive income and have money coming in when you're not working, that's kind of how you go to the next level as a content creator and a business owner. And the cool thing about YouTube is it gives you a unique opportunity because a ranked video is like an employee that you pay once that works for you for free when you're not working. That'd be leverage. You have a ranked video, you made it 1 month, but next, because people go, how can I hire? How can I even have the time to think about hiring and interviewing somebody or figuring it out? Well, you need leverage. You need to get your time back. And so ranking videos gets you your time back because now, or you just need to take a break, time off. YouTube has been known to be such a cause of burnout because you have to just keep, you're the pedaling bear. You just have to keep going, keep posting, pushing for that next viral video. And even this is why I avoided doing brand deals for a while until we had a system at Think Media and even more team to carry the weight, because every time I would get into it, it potentially would take my attention off of creating the next leveraged thing. Similarly, when I built an online course, that was also a leveraged activity to some extent. You have customer service, you got to reply customers, and you want to make sure you take care of people, which is all work that should come along with that. But the fact that you can make the course one time, but then sell it multiple times is a more leveraged activity than, say, one-on-one coaching or something else. So that was my personal obsession. So that's a long answer to your question of, I think you have to pick what works best for you. And in certain industries, and you want to pick out what you love doing. So what I would also recommend is, I think too many creators spread their attention to, they hear you should create multiple streams of income and they're just starting and they go, and here's my business plan. I'm going to get Patreon going. I definitely want to get some merch going. I'm planning 2 online courses. I know I need to write an ebook, and then I want to get approved for the AdSense program, and I want to do, and it's like, whoa, you're like spreading your focus across a lot of different things, and you're not necessarily creating leverage in any of those, because while you still have to go home and try to write the book, that's not earning for you yet. And when you still have to go home and like you have 3 Patreon people, but you made a promise, I'm going to go live and answer your questions every month. Well, then you better be there live answering their questions every month. So it's how many promises are making, how much time are you committing? And so before extending your tent stakes too soon, that going back to what is the shortest path to revenue, what is the best income producing activities, and if possible, how can those be automated? And if you do YouTube right, YouTube keeps bringing you views, and however, whatever you connect that to, it could be clicks on your course, which could bring in sales when you're sleeping, or clicks on your affiliate links, which can bring on sales when you're sleeping. So I think leverage is a big concept to study, to understand, and to pursue, not because, and you could say because of like, hey, passive income, so I could chill because now I just have this money coming in, I'm on vacation all the time. Maybe for a while, but like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you have some passive income coming in so that you could put better systems in your business, get a team around your business, just get some peace of mind back personally and work on the next thing, or take a break, guard your mental health, and then be able to be in it for the long haul. Mary's Nest, spoke recently on the Think Media podcast, and that episode is in our archives, at least on the YouTube channel for sure. It was in January of 2023. And she was sharing how she has a YouTube partner manager. Eventually they reach out to you and they'll say, hey, and they'll give you some advice. Typically their advice isn't very profound, but they just kind of tell you about YouTube features and stuff. So she's talking to a girl they connect her with. And this person, she's at 800,000 subscribers. So she's in her like retirement, legacy years, making cooking videos, loving life. And her partner manager from YouTube goes, so Mary, almost to 1 million subscribers, she's going to get a gold play button. She goes, who's your team? Like, how many people do you have on your team? And she goes, team? It's just me and my husband. She's on her way to 1 million, just her and her husband. The reason why, though, is she followed what we teach at Video Raking Academy, and she has so many videos she's added to her library over the years that are bringing in ad revenue. And she's like, yeah, like I'm not going to work around Father's Day because I want to give, I think her husband edits the videos or something. And she's like, I want to give him the time off because it's Father's Day. So that's the other thing that leverage creates for you is if you're going to be a solo creator or a solopreneur, you've really actually created a business because of the power of YouTube. The business is working for you when you're not working because of how many videos she's put out there that have been getting views for the last 4+ years and are connected to affiliate links or things. And those are her main thing. I'm pretty sure it's basically affiliates and ad revenue. And then occasionally she does sponsorships. But those 2 vehicles are enough for her and her husband to make an incredible living and have a sustainable, again, her energy and her joy and all that stuff is amazing, but all these creators complaining about burnout, she isn't. All these creators complaining about being worn out, she's fine because she's created a really healthy rhythm and created a cadence on YouTube that has allowed her to last for the long haul.
I love that. And I want to kind of end with just like very practical advice. And I love the idea of thinking through what is it that could really leverage your time. And it's cool because when I think of leveraging my time, I think of hiring out someone to edit, and that is a great way to leverage your time, but that is a cost. And we're talking about making your first 100K, right? And so a lot of times you can do that solo, which is really, really cool to hear that story from Mary's Nest. But before I want to hear, just your final thoughts on what beginners should be doing. One of the things that comes to mind for me is I really resonated when you started talking about all the different ideas, all the different options that YouTube gives you. And then beyond that, there's just so much that's like, how do you choose? I think what you can do is just ask your community, what do you want? Mm-hmm. And I think it's very safe to say that most YouTubers should be doing, obviously, turn on ads. So you have your AdSense. Once you get monetized, that's great. And everyone's used to that. Affiliate links is great. You can throw affiliate links down. Even if you're not reviewing products, you can still have affiliate links in your description on like your favorite workout gear. If you have a workout channel, or there's ways to do it. I think those are great pieces of advice. But if you're going to build some sort of course or membership or something, it's like, ask your audience, do they want it? And then that can bring, I think, clarity to people who are maybe doing too much. It's like, maybe your community doesn't want merch.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't. And so what kind of final advice would you just give to someone looking to scale, maybe just with the opportunities today? I know we didn't touch on shorts. We have a podcast that people can listen to, deep dive into shorts. But when it comes to brand deals or other opportunities out there, what would you say is kind of the opportunities to focus on besides, some of the ones we talked about?
Yeah. I mean, I think that the first thing you want to decide is, are you in entertainment or in education? And if you're in entertainment, it's the monetization methods are pretty much ad revenue, Patreon, community support, crowdfunding, essentially, brand sponsorships. And those are the main ones on the entertainment side. And typically you need scale, because the brand sponsorships you do are probably more broad appeal and mass appeal. So you need more viewership, and then you want more viewership for your ads, and then your community supporting you because they're fans, kind of more as the mentality. Whereas if you're education, the opportunities, I believe, are more. It's also possible to make more money with a much smaller audience. You could have a very small YouTube channel and make big money. And so on that side, you could still do ads, you could still do brand sponsorships, but on this side, you're creating an online course is a great idea. Where income really began to scale at Think Media was when we created our first course, Video Ranking Academy. And one reason for that is pretty simple. It's the fact that when we create an online course that's our own intellectual property, our own product, we make, I want to say, 98% of the revenue, because it takes 2% for the processing fees. And using Kajabi, they take no fee of the course. So if Amazon is going to pay you 1 to 10%, how much better would it be to get 98%? And different when it's a digital product, if you were to create hard goods, there's a lot of times margins are low. So you sell a hoodie, but it costs you $35 for the hard cost of the hoodie. You have a $10 markup. You only make $10. It's fine, but 10%, 20%, 30% margins. So thinking about that. So on the education side, you have YouTube ads, sponsorships, but you can create an online course, affiliate marketing, and then a lot of times events. People want to come to events, or coaching, or group coaching, or membership sites, because for education, people are actually learning something. And it's actually not that radical. People are familiar with paying for education to go to college or paying to go to university. That is just shifting to digital and e-learning. In fact, the new data tells us that by 2028, the e-learning industry is going to be a $1.2 billion industry per day.
Jeez. That's crazy.
1.2 billion being transacted a day on e-learning by 2028. So you're positioning yourself. If you position yourself to help people learn something, teach something, and educate, there's massive opportunity. But at the end of the day, it's about playing to your strengths. It's about, figuring out what is your passion, what are you best at, and what is there a market for, and then how you build a business model around that is predicated on your strengths, your passions, what you ultimately want to do, what you're willing to commit to, how much time you have in the week. And so obviously people should definitely stay connected, subscribe, because that's the point of this podcast, is to help people learn the skills, learn kind of the blueprints, learn the different methodologies and ways of earning a great living in the creator economy. Or also, and then, I mean, number 3 is leads, clients, and sales for your business too. And you may be educating, or you may just want to attract consumers or B2B, and you already have products or services that you're just looking for leads and clients for. So whatever your end goal is, we want to define that, and then we work backwards from there to figure out the best way of monetizing and hitting your financial targets.
And I love your training on how to create an online course, even without a following. And so you can click on the screen, check out that video. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. See you guys in the next video.